Jeffrey Epstein, the convicted sex offender and pedophile, is not the most important political in America, at least as far as I can tell from up here in Canada. I think protecting the borders is, deporting millions of illegals is, reigniting the economy is, creating jobs is, opening up foreign markets to American goods, reshoring American industries, deterring foreign enemies from going to war, stopping men from invading women's spaces in America like bathrooms and change rooms and sports teams. Those are all real things, very real issues that have a real effect on everyday lives of every American. Trump is ticking a lot of those boxes these days. He's getting a lot of things done. I just saw this that rang a bell with me. Stephen Miller, Trump's deputy chief of staff with a real focus on immigration, he tweeted a video showing just how empty Los Angeles' normally traffic-jammed highways are, and he wonders if that's a result of mass deportations, including self-deportations. There's an estimated 800,000 illegals in LA. Imagine what that would do to traffic if they were gone. I don't know, but at a certain point, I think that would be something you could detect. I mean, imagine for a moment if we in Canada deported the 4.9 million Canadians who no longer, they're not Canadians, foreigners, who no longer have the legal right to be here. In a few months, 4.9 million visas will expire. Like this case, where someone on a student visa, a foreigner here on a student visa, was actually working for Bell Canada, and he sexually assaulted a woman in her own home. Why was he let into Canada in the first place? No criminal check. Since he's obviously not in school, why hasn't he been sent home since he's here on a student visa? How did Bell come to hire him if he's here on a student visa, not a working visa? Did Bell do what they usually do, which is make Canadian employees train the foreign replacements before firing the Canadian employees and hiring the foreign replacements for less? The banks do that all the time. It's so gross. So all these things I've just been talking about are real and important things that really affect ordinary people. But what about Jeffrey Epstein? Does that affect us? He was a sex criminal who was investigated as early as 20 years ago for sexually abusing young girls, some as young as 14 years old. So he was a child rapist. He was convicted in 2008 for child prostitution and another crime, but he got a plea deal to serve 13 months, and much of that was on work release. He got off so easily. But he obviously didn't stop. He was arrested in 2019 on more sex trafficking charges, and then he died in prison a few weeks later. Authorities claim he killed himself, but videotape of his prison cell for the moment in question has gone missing. Isn't that curious? And the two guards who were curiously not there at the same time, the whole thing looked like such a cover-up, especially when you know that Epstein consorted with so many rich and powerful people. He wasn't doing these rapes on his own. He was procuring these girls for others. He had a private jet that was dubbed the Lolita Express. You know Lolita, that story by Nabokov, the very young girl. That was his private jet that he flew to his private island in the Caribbean, where he allegedly, and he and his guests, engaged in raping those young girls. And Epstein filmed his guests doing so for blackmail material on them, it is alleged. It was such a large operation and went on for so long and had so many rich and powerful people. It's thought that he must have had the cooperation of a government entity, the CIA, the Mossad, MI5, whatever, to have that kind of compromat, that's the Soviet word, the Russian word for compromised material, on so many rich and powerful people. Epstein died or was killed before he could spill the beans. His colleague, his trafficker, Ghislaine Maxwell, whose father was a spy, by the way, was convicted and sentenced to prison, where she now is. And then there were reports like this, a journalist thinking she was speaking during an ad break, saying high-ups at her network forbade any discussion of Epstein.
I've had the story for 3 years. I've had this interview with Virginia Roberts. We would not put it on the air. First of all, I was told, who's Jeffrey Epstein? No one knows who that is. This is a stupid story. Then the palace found out that we had her whole allegations about Prince Andrew and threatened us a million different ways. We were so afraid we wouldn't be able to interview Kate and Will that also quashed the story. And then Alan Dershowitz was also implicated in it because of the planes. She told me everything. She had pictures. She had everything. She was in hiding for 12 years. We convinced her to come out. We convinced her to talk to us. It was unbelievable what we had. Clinton, we had everything. I tried for 3 years to get it on, to no avail, and now it's all coming out, and it's like these new revelations, and I freaking had all of it. I'm so pissed right now. Like, every day I get more and more pissed, because I'm just like, oh my God, what we had was unreal. Other women backing it up. Hey, yep. Brad Edwards, the attorney, 3 years ago, saying, there will come a day when we will realize Jeffrey Epstein was the most prolific pedophile this country has ever known. And I had it all 3 years ago.
And there were always rumors and insiders talking about sex, not just unusual sex or extreme sex, but illegal sex, rape of children. It was almost too much to believe. It felt like something pre-biblical, pre-civilizational. Epstein even had a strange pagan temple on his Caribbean island. It all felt like something out of the Tom Cruise movie Eyes Wide Shut. And it became a political issue. Of course, so many politicians named in his black book. Donald Trump said it was something he would reveal if he became president. The Epstein files, along with the JFK files and so many other state secrets. And his attorney general said so too, even just recently.
The DOJ may be releasing the list of Jeffrey Epstein's clients. Will that really happen?
It's sitting on my desk right now to review. That's been a directive by President Trump. I'm reviewing that. I'm reviewing JFK files, MLK files. That's all in the process of being reviewed because that was done at the directive of the president from all of these agencies.
So have you seen anything that you said, oh my gosh?
Not yet.
And so did others in the administration, including Trump's new head of the FBI.
You know, it's the same thing with Epstein's list. It's like, what the hell are these Republicans doing? Oh,
I saw you
give out the list.
I saw you make news this morning about that. I got to get to that.
Yeah.
You say that the FBI has Epstein's list. They're sitting on it. That doesn't seem like something you should do. You're protecting the world's foremost predator. That seems like an evil thing to do, regardless of who may be embarrassed in the release of that list. Why is the FBI protecting the greatest pederast, the largest scale pederast in human history?
Simple, because of who's on that list. You don't think that Bill Gates is lobbying Congress night and day to prevent the disclosure of that list? And why is it that the Senate, you know, and good for Senator Blackburn to try to get it out, but then Dick Durbin comes over the top and says, no, we're not going to release the names. I don't care about the list itself, but if you release the names, right? What the hell are the House Republicans doing? They have the majority. You can't get the list? You're going to accept Dick Durbin's word or whoever that guy is as to who is on that list and who isn't, and that it can and can't be released? Put on your big boy pants and let us know who the pedophiles are. We have an election coming up, and we need to adjudicate this matter at the polls. God knows the FBI and DOJ aren't going to do anything. But how are you going to reward the FBI with a new headquarters building after their illegal surveillance on Donald Trump continues with a reauthorization of FISA, and we can't even get basic documents out? This is why America hates Congress. And this is why I'm tired of the Republican majority saying they're going to get the job done and failing.
But that was then. Now the word is, there's nothing to see here.
Yeah, sure. If
Hey, Pam, could I just interrupt for 1
Sure.
second? Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? This guy's been talked about for years. You're asking, we have Texas, we have this, we have all of the things. And are people still talking about this guy, this creep? That is unbelievable. Do you want to waste the time, and do you feel like answering?
I don't mind answering.
I mean, I can't believe you're asking a question on Epstein at a time like this where we're having some of the greatest success and also tragedy with what happened in Texas. It just seems like a desecration, but you go ahead.
Sure. First, to back up on that, in February, I did an interview on Fox, and it's been getting a lot of attention because I said, I was asked a question about the client list, and my response was, it's sitting on my desk to be reviewed, meaning the file along with the JFK, MLK files as well. That's what I meant by that. Also, to the tens of thousands of video, they turned out to be child porn downloaded by that disgusting Jeffrey Epstein. Child porn is what they were. Never going to be released, never going to see the light of day. To him being an agent, I have no knowledge about that. We can get back to you on that. And the minute missing from the video, we released the video showing definitively, the video was not conclusive, but the evidence prior to it was showing he committed suicide. And what was on that, there was a minute that was off the counter. And what we learned from Bureau of Prisons was every night, they redo that video. It's old, from like 1999. So every night the video is reset, and every night should have the same minute missing. So we're looking for that video to release that as well, showing that a minute is missing every night. And that's it on Epstein.
What's going on? Will we ever know? If we don't know now, how will we ever know in the future? Don't we have a right to know? By the way, Mark Carney, our new prime minister, his wife's family is listed in Epstein's black book. Epstein's client, Prince Andrew, who settled a massive lawsuit with a young girl who raped her, he's friends with Mark Carney. Isn't that weird? Prince Andrew actually threw a party for Mark Carney. That's weird. That's odd. Seems odd to me. We don't have an explanation for it. It's a subject that came up in the course of my conversation with my friend Joel Pollack. Earlier today, I was talking to him about all things American. I just wanted to go across the waterfront and get updates on all sorts of files. And I just mentioned the Epstein news in passing, and actually turned into quite a debate. Let me show you my whole interview with Joel, which turned pretty quickly into an Epstein debate.